We played with Jim a lot, and we played this next song with him a few years ago, right there. He had a wonderful bass line, and we can hear it in our heads, and I wish we could let you hear it too. What wondrous love is this, oh my soul, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul, and takes away the pain of my soul. When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down. When I was sinking down, sinking down. When I was sinking down beneath my sorrow's ground, friends to me gathered round, oh my soul, oh my soul. Friends to me gathered round, oh my soul. To love and to all friends I will sing, I will sing. To love and to all friends I will sing. To love and to all friends who pain and sorrow mend, with thanks unto the end I will sing, I will sing. With thanks unto the end I will sing.
Good morning. My name is Diane Elliott, and I was here for many years as a Sunday school director. And one of my jobs was to find chalice lighters. And so, anyway, so what I found out through Jim is that their youngest child thought that we were saying, let's see, what was it?
Please join me in saying.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Please join me in saying, but he thought it was please join me in sane. So that always became a joke with us. So I guess that's why I'm here this morning. So please join me in saying, life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in unity to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Chris Jablonski, and it is my honor to have served Jim as his last in a long line of ministers. It is a joy to be here today, celebrating him and remembering him. To begin with, I'll share the Mourner's Kaddish, a prayer from the Jewish tradition, and then the Lord's Prayer, a version fresh from Jim's iPad, which he took with him. I'll also share a little bit about Jim's time here in the church. So first, the Mourner's Kaddish. Please join me in prayer. Glorified and sanctified be God's great name throughout the world which was created according to God's will. May God's kingdom be established in your lifetime and during your days and within the life of the entire house of Israel speedily and soon. And let us say amen. May God's great name be blessed forever and to all eternity, blessed and praised, glorified and exalted, extolled and honored, adored and lauded be the holy name of the Holy One, who is ever to be praised, though far above these eulogies and songs of praise and consolation that human lips can utter. And let us say amen. May a great peace descend from heaven, and abundant life be granted to us all, Israel. Let us say amen. May the Holy One, who creates peace in the heavens, create peace for us, for all Israel and all the world. And let us say amen. These that follow are the words of Eleanor. They started here at FCB by coming to a new UU class. As a mixed faith couple, they needed to scope things out first. She was raised just across the street at All Saints Episcopal, and Jim was raised Jewish and achieved his bar mitzvah. They finished the class and then started coming to services, and Jim winced at every cross he saw. You can look around and look for all the crosses. He winced more than a couple times. With the boys ages 3 and 5 starting RE classes, they started a group for mixed faith couples called Mixed Blessings. With help from Kathy Bowers, they began Rosh Hashanah celebrations and Hanukkah parties. They became involved in church seders and continued to co-sponsor seders with the Neil for so many years. They became members in 1992 during Victor Carpenter's first year as minister. Jim quickly settled into the coffee house committee and made friends there. He also found deep fellowship with the men's group as the youngest in the group. This group still continues to meet today. Jim served on many committees of mission vision that ran listening circles and wrote our church mission statement. As a staff support for RE Director Diane Elliott, and as a participant in the Jazz Vespers during Victor's ministry. As the chair of the Communications Committee in recent years, he updated the church website and supported staff computer issues. As a member of the Trans Parent Group for parents of trans children, as a member of the Nugget Group. He attended rummage sales and auctions, coffee houses, and plays, so many Sunday services. Taught so many levels of RE, including a long stint with Eleanor in spirit play. Performed with his blues band at several coffee houses, with many First Church members playing full songs at church events. Along with Eleanor, he attended all but one Sandy Island retreat until 2019. I loved playing music at the services there. And let me just sneak in my own moment. I am so grateful for that incredible list. Often during this pandemic, I've talked with colleagues whose churches are struggling, see communities crumbling, and I'm so grateful for Jim and his many years of service. He poured himself out into this place for you all and for all of our other members and friends and for this wider world. We are stronger, more beautiful, more wise, more fun, more full of music and memory for all he gave to this holy place through his service and his leadership. We'll close with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break all those chains holding me. I wish I could say all the things I could say 'em loud, say 'em clear, for the whole world to hear. in the sky. How sweet it could be if I found out I soared to the sun and looked down upon the sea. Then I see, 'cause I know how it seems to be free. Then I sing, 'cause I know how it feels to be free. Then I sing, 'cause I know how it feels to be free.
I'd like to share a few words about Jim and his musical activities. The song that I just sang was one of Jim's favorite songs from the Billy Taylor album of the same name, I Wish I Knew How It Feels to Be Free. I met Jim many decades ago when I first came to Boston to attend Berklee College of Music. His friend from the Bronx, Josh, introduced us, and they came to Boston to study too. Jim played drums, and Josh played keyboards, and they were in a band called Total Crud in New York, of which Jim was very proud of. And I was playing bass in a duo with Chris on guitar, and we formed a band, the four of us, called Coleslaw. And we had a fun year becoming close friends as we learned to play unusual cover songs and long Grateful Dead-like jams. We played Zappa's Peaches and Regalia, another of Jim's favorites. Over the decades, he was the first person I called when I needed a drummer. We played together in Twilight Zone. He played drums for the reunion of my band Extremes, held in this church's coffee house. I was singer for his band, the Jazz Express, which also played here in the church. He was a fantastic drummer and could play just about any style of music with ease. Jim had a great and sometimes wicked sense of humor and often made me laugh. He was described as luminous, and that resonates with the truth. I can still hear his voice in my head, and I treasured our long friendship. He used to say that I was his oldest friend in Boston, and it was a great honor to be his friend.
Morning, Jackie Neal. I'll be reading Wild Geese by Mary Oliver. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about your despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain over the prairies and the deep trees moving across the landscapes, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese high in the clean blue air are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination. Calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things.
Hello, everyone. My name is Baird Klima-Smith. Chris was reading that long list of all of Jim's activities, and he mentioned Sandy Island. This is an island that our church would go to on retreat in the fall, and that is really where Jim and I connected through music. I loved playing those services there in a lodge, and the windows all open up in the front of the lodge, and very often Eleanor is our celebrant, and we, instead of lighting candles, we place acorns, or pebbles into a jar. It's a very homegrown event, and very often, about a week before going, she would say, "I need you to play this, this, and this." And she'd give me something, and then I would try to noodle around with it, and then on Saturday morning, Jim and I would sit down and start playing through, and it was such a treat. It's such a treat. Those of you who have played music with Jim know how generous he was in music. I am not a polished musician. I'm a little bit of a nervous musician, and I'm also an emotional musician. I have a hard time, as I will today, playing without feeling the words, and I'm already breaking up a little bit. And Jim would just roll it, and he'd let me add an extra measure or change a chord. And here he's, following me along on the bass, not the drum, and I would make a new song in the moment with Jim allowing me to do that. And so it's with that same gratitude I'm here today, just so grateful that I can keep being part of that tradition of just enjoying music. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be you. There are places I remember all my life, though some have changed, some forever and not for better. Some have gone and some remain. All these places have their moments with lovers and friends. I still can recall some are dead and some are living. In my life, I love them all. But of all these friends and lovers, there is no one that compares with you, and these memories lose their meaning when I think of love as something new. Though I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I loved you more. Well, I know I never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I love you more. In my life, I love you more.
Hi, I'm Eleanor. I'm not a musician. And that's why I'm so grateful the musicians are filling in some of Jim's musical history for me. Welcome, everybody. It took us a long time to get here. This is our third try to have a service for Jim. The service is carefully crafted around the music that Jim loved, and it's attended by the folks that he loved. As Chris mentioned, the Lord's Prayer, but also the Psalm 23 are included because Jim kept them on his phone and his iPad to read during his many hospital stays. This eulogy has changed many times since June 28, 2021. I keep rewriting it in my head, and my focus has changed. The added time has moved me a bit away from the circumstances of Jim's illness, the 18 months of hospital stays, surgeries, 12 in all, and tremendous pain of his cancer. I am a bit further down the road of recovery from PTSD of my husband passing at the age of 67 in the middle of a pandemic. The last 2 years have shocked us all, and our personal experience was intensified by cancer. I am a bit more used to being a widow, not married on the forms, of living alone with my bunnies, of food shopping for one, and of starting a retirement life on my own. But this day is not about me. This day is for Jim, and it is his 68th birthday, after all. So, Jim was born on February 19, 1954 to Bert and Ruth in the Bronx. He was their third child. His brother Howard is almost 7 years older, and he now lives in Mill Valley. His sister Joanne died at 6 months before Jim came along. This event shaped the family, casting a sorrow over his mom that she never quite shed. Bert was a pilot in World War II, which also shaped the family, as Bert never quite recovered from watching his fellow Air Force buddies fall at tender young ages. His conservative views and patriotism came at odds to his sons in the 60s and 70s, but they all weathered it and remained close, although with differing political views. When Jim was young, he was often sick with asthma, and his mom would tell stories of chasing him down hospital corridors to avoid the allergy shots. She'd find them like underneath, the beds and things. But she wisely decided to work out of the house to expand her world a bit, and she became a hospital administrator at Montefiore Hospital. Jim was still missing school with his asthma episodes, but he was cared for by his paternal grandmother, Sylvia. And she was a great baker, perhaps the source of Jim's love for cookies. He formed a tight bond with her, and he stayed home and watched her stories with her, and played cards and board games. She lived below his parents in an apartment with a window to the front door. She would always greet the brothers as they came home, a watchdog of sorts as the boys grew to be teenagers. She sent recipes to Jim at college, and her honey cake became a favorite for our family. Jim reported playing street ball games and making friends in the Bronx. And his parents had an active social life. There were lots of parties and dancing. Jim started playing drums when he was about 8 or so. And his parents were at work when he practiced in the apartment building, entertaining all the neighbors. To buy his comic books and candy, he soon started working for his drum teacher, sorting and finding music. He attended Hebrew school, and he received bar mitzvah at age 13. And despite Jim's school absences, he was quite bright. He was able to skip 8th grade. He attended Bronx High School of Science and found fellow musicians to jam with. He graduated at 17 and received a Regents Scholarship to a state school, SUNY Albany. There he became less of a student and soon joined his first band, a pre-punk band that received some success in the New York scene. Yes, Deborah already said it. Total crud, which is a true pre-punk name. Dorm life was replaced by living in the band house, out of it house. He was unable to stay after a year because of his asthma, and he returned to his parents' home in the Bronx and was a runner on Wall Street for a short while. In 1972, Jim moved to Boston to attend Berklee College of Music, with his total crud friend, Joshua Brody. He made more lifelong friends there, including Deborah. During his time at Berklee, his parents moved to San Francisco. Brother Howard was there and married with a baby. Jim was a drum major, but also a music ed major. He did not care for the student teaching. And after graduation, he chose to stay on to work at the college. He worked at scheduling student ensemble groups before the days of computers, on pieces of paper. Jim and I met in April of 1980. I was a preschool teacher in Cambridge, and he was still scheduling ensembles and living in Winthrop. We were fixed up by his roommate, Ed, and my college friend who was dating Ed. Jim stayed at Berklee another 13 years, moving into faculty scheduling and the growing world of IT. We were married in August of 1982 and lived in Somerville in the Ball Square area. Although I still taught, Jim still worked at Berklee, we also had two boys, Scott in 1985 and Michael in 1987. When Mike was 5 weeks old, we moved to Belmont. Jim enjoyed jamming with local friends, but he found the weekend general business gigs to be too taxing with small children around. To advance himself, he decided to follow his interest in IT by going to Bentley College. He received his Master of Science in Computer Information Systems in 1991. Now, anybody still awake? Jim went to Berklee, married a Buckley, and went to Bentley. In 1992, he started to work in the business world, leaving the world of academia and music in which he had spent so long. He worked at Fidelity, at Kendall Healthcare, and then moved on to a family-run business in Clinton, Nipro. Like Kendall, Nipro also made healthcare products, and the factory there made plastic injection molded products. His future was in plastics. Jim worked on the intranet as the company expanded to sites abroad, and he stayed there for 20 years. They were busy years for our family, with buying our house, caring for our boys, and our third child, and then caring for our parents. Our children enlarged our lives by leading us to explore religion, sports, scouts, and music education. Jim helped in all of these activities, even coaching baseball a bit, and he became a scoutmaster for a while. He even changed his allegiance from the Yankees to the Red Sox. His extensive music knowledge and preferences were embraced by each of our children in turn. We enjoyed vacations, camping, visiting California, and warm islands. Back to career. Every employee at Nipro received stock. Eventually, the company was bought out by a larger company, Jago, and every Nipro employee walked away with the value of their accumulated stock, which will now provide for me and my family in my retirement. Positions were cut by the merger, and Jim made it through 3 cutbacks. The final cutback was in September of 2016, 3 weeks after our oldest son was married. Jim finished 3 months later, and he felt lost at age 62, trying to enter the job market. But this became a mixed blessing, as he spent more time working on church projects, teaching himself to play bass guitar, and playing folk music with First Church friends. He continued with his blues jam band, the Blues Rockers, that he had been in for over 20 years on Thursday nights. Roger Miller pulled him into playing music at a nursing home in Newton, which was a satisfying volunteer job. He attended a job hunter support group at church. Jim did find some short-term consulting jobs, and he also enjoyed working a part-time job finding expert witnesses for patent cases. And he had a great time refurbishing our basement into the jam studio of his dreams, playing in a Grateful Dead band called Deadline. I'll just hang on. Uh-oh. Am I missing a page? That was awful. There we go. He was waiting for me to retire at an event that was planned for August 2020. We even bought a timeshare in Mexico, a place to sit in the sun and enjoy snorkeling. Well, we all know what happened next. Jim's first cancer symptoms were an ache in his leg, which was misdiagnosed for several months. In January of 2020, he received his sarcoma diagnosis, and he spent 9 weeks at MGH, the Spalding Rehab, having surgery and learning how to walk again. In March of 2020, he came home, and I was home from teaching, grounded by COVID. COVID had actually gave me more time with him, allowing me to be there for him. I finished my career remotely sometime last spring, finally finding the right teacher to take over my parent co-op preschool. After the third recurrence of his soft tissue sarcoma at Christmas of 2020, I knew Jim would not survive cancer. However, I was still oddly thrilled when he received his vaccine in March. I had kept him safe from COVID. COVID may have kept me home, but it also kept Jim from enjoying his friends, his music, his brand new grandsons. It kept us isolated and scared, like the rest of the world. He did meet both his grandsons and saw a bit of Riley, who lives in Tewksbury. Calvin, Mike's son, met his grandpa over Memorial Day weekend last year. It also hampered Jim's attempts to heal his relationship with our youngest child. In June, we tried a clinical trial, but Jim was too sick already. Too many tumors all over his body. I worked hard to have him home on hospice. He did exchange a small goodbye with our youngest through email. When Jim's hospice started, all of us were starting to cautiously enjoy seeing each other, seeing our vaccinated friends again. So, I invited folks in to say goodbye to him. And this is when the power of love took over. Jim was in much pain, medicated, but he understood that this was it. This was the time to tell people that he loved and appreciated them. It was a beautiful 10 days where he received some total friends, yes, from his childhood years, his brother and his wife from California, his men's group, our nieces and nephews, our sons. Deborah came and sang to him, and friends joined in. His blues group came and played with him in our living room, and Jim kept time on a conga from his hospital bed. His Grateful Dead band came and played recordings of their few precious gigs. Reverend Chris came and blessed my sweet husband. Many of you came and received his love and gratitude, returning it in hugs. He would wake each morning and say, "Eleanor, I'm still here." And I would respond from a temporary bed in the next room, "Yes, dear." "Eleanor, I'm in the living room." "Yes, dear, I know." And thinking, yes, not in the hospital and not at hospice center. And then he was gone, free from pain. Cheated from years as grandpa, cheated from retirement years with me, cheated with reuniting with his youngest, who is now our daughter. And I am cheated of being with my beloved, who had always taken care of me as I cared for him. We grew up together. Jim was many things: a caring father and husband, a devoted son and son-in-law, a brother and brother-in-law, father-in-law, uncle, friend to many, a funny punster, a storyteller, a liberal thinker, a sci-fi nut, and most of all, a lover of jazz, rock and roll, and the blues. He spoke his mind, and he was loyal to his friends, and he wished to stay longer. He died filled with love from so many places, so many different parts of his life, and with the constant beat of his life, music, so much music. I want to close with a prayer that I found in his dresser drawer last summer. It's from his parents' temple in San Francisco. Let's see, I'm gonna get it ready. There it is. Jim was a good man, and he struggled to be better, as we all do. Prayer for comfort and healing. God, Holy One of blessing, I come before you with many feelings. I have accomplished much, and yet I want more. My acts have given love to others. My words have given encouragement and comfort. Yet there are actions I wish I had taken, words I wish I had spoken, some I wish I could not take back. There are accomplishments I wanted to achieve, but did not. I have apologized for hurts I have caused. I have forgiven others. Sometimes my feelings are clear, and sometimes they're not. I pray that whatever the stirrings of my heart, they bring me closer to my true self, to my loved ones, and to you. Created by you, I seek to live ever more fully in your image. I seek peace for myself and my loved ones. At this time, may my life be filled with warmth and wholeness, comfort and healing. Amen. Happy birthday, honey. We are all thinking of you today.
Hello, I am Victoria Buckley, Jim's sister-in-law and elder sister. I have many memories of Jim through both good times and sad times. I was always struck by his ability to stay calm, like I can right now. His amazing resilience and the way he would look for and find the humor in everything. Even in his bout with cancer, Jim joked that it was like whack-a-mole, always popping up again. Jim was the carver of our Thanksgiving turkeys, and he sliced the Christmas roasts. When people leave us, they leave a little magical piece of themselves in our hearts. That is what comforts us and reminds us of their life journey. Since last June, I often hear or see something, and I think, oh, I must tell Jim about this, before I stop myself knowing he has passed. Jim was an excellent musician, a loving husband and father, a great brother-in-law, and a wonderful uncle to my kids. I truly will never forget his kindness when I broke my leg several years ago. He was always willing to drive me to and from physical therapy and work, so I called him Brother Uber. I'm going to now read Psalm 23, which I know he found comforting. The Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, and my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Rest in peace and happy birthday, Brother Uber.
Jim was the youngest of the 7 of us in the church's Wednesday's men's group. That included Ed Bing, Mark Davis, Greg Sherman, Jim Lanfried, Jim Staten, and me. For 23 years, we met nearly every week, so about 1,000 times. We deeply feel the loss of Jim and tremendously miss him. With his sharp and sardonic wit, Jim always made our discussions livelier. He also contributed many insightful comments to our lengthy exchanges on various topics such as current events, theology, sports, and computers, he being one of our 4 geeks. In our check-ins, Jim often reported on the many things he was doing in service to our church, ranging from recent upgrades of IT and offices when he was chair of the communications committee, to several church directories that he and Eleanor organized along with Jim Staten. During our meetings, Jim always stayed connected to his multimedia devices and was graciously willing to fact-check a topic of discussion. All of this was in addition to Jim's primary devotion to his family and his longtime involvement with music. Even in our final visit, we learned more from him about the history of rock music, especially his beloved Grateful Dead. On a larger level, the 6 of us gained better understanding of resilience from Jim. In the 18 months since we brought him pizza in his first stay in the hospital, he continuously maintained courage, positivity, and humor throughout numerous treatments and surgeries. He seldom missed our weekly Zoom meetings, even doing a few of them from his hospital bed, including one 10 days before he died, in which he talked with us for a long time about going into hospice at home. To the very end of his life, Jim smiled radiantly and found reasons to laugh. Our men's group always will hold Jim in our hearts and minds as we continue our extraordinarily gratifying fellowship. Now, as close friends, we remember Jim with great love that extends to Eleanor and his family.
Eleanor, thank you for asking me to sing this song. It's a great, listen to the words, it's a wonderful match for Jim's life. My life flows on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, though far off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? Though the tempest round me roars, I know the truth that liveth. What though the darkness round me close, songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love prevails in heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? Tremble as they hear bells of freedom ringing. When friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? To prison my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love prevails in heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing?
So our time here is just about done. We will linger, we will share still more stories. Many will gather at the lunch just after. Information on the back of your order of service. And Jim will be with us. When we graciously fact-check topics of discussion, he will be with us. With peaches and regalia and coleslaw and total crud, he will be with us. And we hear the music ringing through all the tumult and the strife, and we are led beside still waters and are comforted, he will be with us. When the world offers itself to our imagination, he will be with us. When the strings of our heart bring us closer to our truest selves, when we add an extra measure and change the chords, making space for one another, creating something new, he will be with us. When we give all we are longing to give, when we are food shopping for womb, he will be with us. In a sentimental mood, he will be with us. When we stop and think about him, when children enlarge our lives, he will be with us. When wondrous love brings our heart bliss, when we maintain courage and positivity and humor even facing the hardest times, when we break the chains holding us and we know how it feels to be free. When the power of love takes over, and we gather around. Today and far, far past this day, he will be with us. So in just a moment, it will be time for we, the living, to go out into what remains of our lives, living them in the fullest, most gracious, most beauty-filled way, guided, inspired, and blessed by Jim. Give that.
Eleanor asked us what song we would like to play. And this song was actually the first song that Roger and I both played with Jim at one of the coffee houses. And I'm so glad that his son wants to play congas, which is what Jim played on the song. But he usually played bass for the rest of our time together.
Fare ye well, my honey. Fare ye well, my only true one. All the birds that were singing are flown, except you alone. since I left home. Going home by the waterside. I will rest my bones, listen to the river, sing sweet songs to rock my soul. Gonna plant a weed in